Welcome to NTD Evening News. Our top story tonight, the house of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu under fire today. What Netanyahu says about an alleged plot to assassinate him. Both presidential candidates zeroing in on key battleground states today. Vice President Kamala Harris rallies in Michigan and Georgia, while former President Trump speaks from Pennsylvania. The latest from the campaign trail. Former President Trump is in Pennsylvania tonight. More on his efforts to win over voters in swing states as early voting begins. To end the ongoing strike, Boeing has upped its offer. Striking machinists at Boeing will vote Wednesday on the new contract proposal. And who claimed the top award at this year's NTD International Piano Competition? We have the list of winners right here, just announced at the ceremony.
This is NTD Evening News, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. The house of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu under fire today. Now, the Israeli government says that a drone was launched towards his home. Netanyahu published a short video message after that attack. Take a look.
Prime Minister, how is it going?
Well, 2 days ago, we took out Yahya Sinwar, the terrorist mastermind whose goons beheaded our men, raped our women, burnt babies alive. We took him out, and we're continuing our battle with Iran's other terrorist proxies. We're going to win this war.
So will something deter you?
No.
Netanyahu tweeted, quote, "The attempt by Iran's proxy Hezbollah to assassinate me and my wife today was a grave mistake." Israel's government says neither Netanyahu nor his wife were home, and there were no casualties, thankfully. The military says that a total of 55 projectiles were fired from Lebanon at northern Israel today. A 50-year-old man is dead after he was hit by shrapnel while sitting in his car. At least 3 others are injured. Hezbollah says it plans to launch a new phase of fighting. That's by sending more guided missiles and exploding drones into Israel. Despite this, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is calling on Israel to exercise restraint. He made the remarks at a meeting of G7 defense ministers in Italy today.
The numbers of casualties civilian casualties have been far too high. We'd like to see, Israel scale back on some of the strikes that it's taking, especially in and around Beirut.
Israel today releasing new footage. Now, a warning, this might be disturbing for some viewers. If you look at that video right there, it shows the final moments of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. He was hiding in a building that was surrounded by Israeli troops last week. A tank then fired at the building, destroying the structure and killing Sinwar. The Israeli military today said its Gaza operations will not end until all hostages have been returned home. Moving on now, Cuba's government is trying to restore power after nationwide shutdowns. State-run media reports 2 total blackouts within less than 24 hours. Most of Cuba's 10 million citizens are still without electricity as of this afternoon. Cuba's electrical grid first failed yesterday. Now, this came after one of the island's largest power plants shut down. Some lights started coming back on later. State-run media then reported a second total collapse today. But the government hasn't directly confirmed the second total collapse. An official instead said it was a smaller, more localized setback. Cuba has been dealing with weeks of worsening blackouts, often as long as 10 to 20 hours a day. The government blames this on deteriorating infrastructure, fuel shortages, and rising demand. Vice President Kamala Harris kicked off Detroit's first day of early voting on Saturday. Today, that is, by attending an event featuring Michigan-born rapper Lizzo. NTD's Arlene Richard has the latest on Harris's Saturday rallies and where she's headed to on Monday.
Vice President Kamala Harris was back in Detroit on Saturday, marking the beginning of in-person early voting. Before hosting an event alongside Michigan-born rapper Lizzo, Harris spoke to reporters.
So we're here back today to thank all the folks for the work that they are doing to help organize, register people to vote, and get them out to vote. And today, early voting begins in Detroit.
A reporter asked Harris if she worried about losing the election because of the Israel-Hamas war.
Well, it is undeniable that it is something that everyone is aware of what is happening there. With the killing of Sinwar, this creates an opening that I believe we must take full advantage of to dedicate ourselves to ending this war and bringing the hostages home.
Harris acknowledged the tragedy of thousands of innocent Palestinians and Israelis killed. She also said it hasn't been easy for the administration to end the war, but they haven't given up. Later, at the Get Out the Vote event, she told a crowd why they should vote.
And what we will do together, that is about investing in working people, in middle-class people, in our children, what we do in terms of caring about the education of our children.
This is Harris's 7th visit to Michigan in her campaign. Before going to Detroit, Harris visited Grand Rapids, Oakland County, and Lansing on Friday. While Harris was doing a triple header in Michigan, former President Obama was stumping in Tucson.
So I understand why people are looking to shake things up. I get why sometimes folks are frustrated with politics. I'm sometimes frustrated with politics.
There are 6 Michigan counties that will likely decide who wins the state's 15 electoral votes. So it's not too surprising that former President Trump held events in Oakland County on Friday. Trump was also in Wayne County, which includes Detroit. The vice president is expected to meet with singer Usher in Atlanta later this evening to celebrate Georgia's first weekend of early voting. Harris also told reporters she will team up with Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin on Monday. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
We are just over 2 weeks away from that November 5th election day. Former President Trump is making his final sprint for the finish line, doubling down on campaign events in crucial swing states. Yesterday, he attended a roundtable event in Oakland County, Michigan, speaking on his plan to use tariffs to protect American jobs. Listen.
If they do this plant in Mexico, right near the border, and a couple of others, I'm going to put giant tariffs on it for 100%, and if that doesn't work, I'll go to 200%. I don't care. They're not going to be selling cars here. Now, if they want to build their plant here, I hope here, but at least in the United States, someplace in the United States, that's a whole different ballgame. But we're not going to have them building them in other countries, sending them into the United States, taking all those jobs.
Also yesterday evening, the Wall Street Journal published an interview with Trump. The former president promised additional tariffs on China if China were to go into Taiwan. He also said that Russia would never have invaded Ukraine if he were still in office. Trump will speak tonight at Arnold Palmer Regional Airport in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, which is arguably the most important swing state this election cycle. As early voting begins in many swing states, both Trump and Harris are doubling down on efforts to win over voters and get out the vote. The world's richest man, Elon Musk, stumping in the Philadelphia area to rally votes for former President Trump. Here are the key takeaways.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. Would you
Speaking to a crowd in the key battleground state, Elon Musk called on everyone to come out and vote.
just get everyone registered? The shot clock is running out. We've got until midnight on Monday. Get every friend, family member, strangers on the street, everyone you can find, get them registered to vote. And let's win this election. Let's go!
He said Pennsylvania is the linchpin in this election, one that would decide the fate of America and the fate of Western civilization. Musk also expressed concern over the handling of the southern border and federal spending.
You're not a country if you don't have like a border. Like what does it even mean to be a country at that point? You know. And I went to the border just to see for myself what it was like. And it was like it's like World War Z at the border. You know, like this is crazy, man. The insane government spending is driving the country into bankruptcy. Just like a person, if you spend too much, you know, eventually you go bankrupt. The federal debt's growing by $1 trillion every 3 months.
U.S. national debt climbed over $6 trillion under former President Trump. Debt rose by $7.9 trillion under President Biden. NTD spoke to a few town hall attendees about what brought them here.
I think he's brilliant and brings so much to society today with his innovation, his technology. He's just like a bright light. And I just really wanted to see him in person and just hear what he has to say and what his plans are.
Another said he's tired of the current environment and rising inflation. His three top concerns.
First one is securing border. Second one is making everyday items affordable for everyone. And third item is, just making cities and, our neighborhoods safer.
Musk is scheduling more town halls in Pennsylvania. He also offered $100 for registered Pennsylvania voters signing his conservative-leaning petition.
If you live in Massachusetts, Nevada, or New Mexico, listen up. Early voting began in your state today. But officials advise voting early only if you are certain about your choices, because once you cast your vote, you cannot take it back. In Massachusetts, ballots can be returned by mail, hand-delivered to a local election office, or dropped off early at an early voting location or ballot drop box. Nevada requires all registered voters to receive a ballot in the mail. Early voting runs through November 1st, and Nevada offers same-day in-person voter registration. More than 825,000 Nevadans are registered to vote without any party affiliation. In New Mexico, voters can request an absentee ballot without an excuse, or they can vote in person as well. The state also offers same-day voter registration. Be sure to check government websites for specific voting information in your area. When we come back, a drone attack from Lebanon targets the home of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We discuss the latest development.
Come to the Mathis Design Studio, the premier destination for designer furniture. See the latest trends from top brands with heirloom quality pieces for every room in your house. Whether you're redecorating a single room or furnishing an entire home, we have the styles you'll love. Plus, enjoy fast, complimentary delivery. Visit us now for exclusive discounts and let us help make your dream home a reality for less than you ever imagined at the Mathis Design Studio.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sebastian, and it is a beautiful day today. We have so much to be grateful for, so just remember, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. I just love inspiring people to be the best they can be, and the reason I'm able to inspire so many people is because people like you who inspire me with your support of Shriners Hospitals for Children. Since I was little, I've broken 100 bones, and I've had 19 surgeries. Shriners Hospitals for Children was with me every step of the way. But more than that, they've given me the confidence to know I can do whatever I set my mind to. Like right now, I've set my mind to sharing my smile with you. Did you get it?
Because of people like you, I can play the violin.
I can play piano.
I can understand.
The help I get is only possible because of caring people like you who pick up the phone and call the number on your screen to make your monthly gift.
And when you call or go online right now to donate $19 a month or more, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of all the smiles you're bringing to kids' faces every day.
Kids like me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
So what are you waiting for? You can inspire kids like me by visiting loveshriners.org. After all, you can't help everyone, but you can help someone. So let's go!
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving. Join me and bring a smile to the world with your monthly gift today.
Please call now. If operators are busy, please call again or go to loveshriners.org right away.
Join me and bring a smile to the world.
Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
Thanks for staying with us. We now take a look at the latest developments in the Middle East. Joining me live is retired Colonel John Mills, Senior Fellow at the Center for Security Policy, and also former Director of Cybersecurity Policy at the Department of Defense. Colonel, good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I want to start by taking a look closer at what we were reporting earlier about this drone that was launched from Lebanon towards Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house today. Thankfully, no one was hurt. But based on this, what is your assessment of this assassination attempt, and what is it telling us about Hezbollah's current military capabilities?
Well, thank you, Fiona. Well, I think Hezbollah has been severely degraded and attrited. It looks like they were attempting to target the Prime House in Caesarea, which is essentially on the coast, midway in between Tel Aviv and Haifa. It didn't come close. It doesn't appear that anybody was actually harmed or injured or wounded. But this is Hezbollah desperately attempting to do something to strike back. They have been degraded between the incredible pager attack and follow-on supply chain leveraged attacks. And then with Israel's targeted attacks on their leadership in addition, I think they're just desperately trying to do something that shows that they are somewhat back in the game, but really they aren't. They've been severely degraded.
Now, speaking of Israel's strategy, we did also see them dropping not any projectiles this time, but rather leaflets over Gaza showing the dead body of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, along with the message, Hamas will no longer rule Gaza, and in Arabic, whoever drops their weapons and hands over the hostages will be allowed to leave and live in peace. What message is Israel trying to send here to both Hamas, but also the citizens of Gaza?
Well, you would call this tactical battlefield psychological operations, and it's a good time to do this. A brutal leader who has just held a violent sway over the citizens of Gaza is now gone, and it's definitive that they're gone. And so this is a good time for those who are open-minded to lay down their arms. And any reasonable person can see, if they were in Gaza, that the time is now to just go ahead and lay down the weapons, and they'll get a lot of those accepting. There are those who lived off the largesse of Hamas and their international crime operation and their abuse of UN aid, who may continue on or try to reconstitute leadership. But this is very different. And again, I really have to emphasize, the Hamas that we're seeing in the last 2 years, 3 years is really different than the Hamas of previous times. This was they did the October 7th attack as a proxy of Iran. Iran works for China, and they started the planning of this attack right after the Americans left from Afghanistan as part of a worldwide campaign. And at this point in time, Hamas has now been essentially eliminated. I would say whatever's left would lay down their arms in this situation.
Colonel, you make some very interesting points there. I want to target more this idea that when Sinwar was alive, he really had this hold on the ideology and what was going on there in Gaza. I've spoken to other analysts who say that Sinwar basically silenced any sort of opposition when he was alive, and now that he is dead, this could give dissenting opinions an opportunity or an opening. So what reactions are we seeing from Gaza in the wake of his death right now?
Well, I think it's too early to tell. I don't think there's enough data out there to really indicate. But absolutely, this is like the very early days of in Iraq, where an OIF, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I was there. Everybody wanted, because Saddam Hussein had disappeared. I was terrified. Nobody wanted to make a move until it was definitive that Hussein was captured. So I think a very similar situation here. I think you're going to see significant changes. I think most are tired of the fighting. They've seen the absolute destruction. Again, and Sinwar just with absolutely street executions for anybody who took exception to Hamas. So I think it's a new day.
Colonel, before we go here, I want to get your final thought on the bigger picture here. What does all of this mean for the Israel-Hamas war and the rule of Gaza?
Well, we have to put this in the context. This is a showdown with Iran, and Iran works for China. That's what's going on here. So Israel had to deal with the immediate 3H club. That was the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. It's essentially about the 0.25H club now because Hamas is essentially gone. The Houthis have been largely degraded, and Hezbollah has largely been degraded. Next phase and step is holding the Iran regime accountable. I am sure Iran is extremely concerned with regime viability at this point in time, and it is very likely Israel has shown absolute dominance, escalation dominance. They could probably very wily and creative way actually move the regime. That doesn't mean Israeli or American troops. That means remotely. The regime is very unpopular in Iran, and I think the IRGC, the mullahs, and the president are probably very worried about their long-term state in Iran.
Retired Colonel John Mills, always great talking to you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Fiona.
Moving on now, Boeing and its machinists union reached a new contract proposal today. The offer includes a 35% pay increase over 4 years, a higher signing bonus of $7,000, and a higher 401k contribution. Employees are also guaranteed to receive a set of minimum amount from the annual bonus program. The ratification vote is set for Wednesday. This deal could end the machinist strike that has lasted now for over a month. The work stoppage has halted Boeing's aircraft production. Last month, Boeing pulled its offer of a 25% pay increase over 4 years. Ending the work stoppage is now critical for new CEO Kelly Ortberg, who is tasked with reshaping the company. There's no guarantee workers will approve the proposal, however. The results are in. NTD's 7th International Piano Competition has successfully come to a close. The results were just announced earlier today in New York City's Kauffman Center. Many distinguished musicians and previous winners attended the award ceremony. Now let's get right to it. This year, 2 contestants earned the Outstanding Performance Award. They are Ching Yi Lin from Taiwan and Jean-Luc Therian from Canada. Tang Xing Lian, also from Taiwan, claimed the Bronze Award. For the Silver Award, Shi-Ye Liu from Taiwan is the undisputed winner. But who is the top winner of this year's NTD International Piano Competition? Well, Robert Neumann from Germany has risen above the rest and claimed the Gold Award. Robert, along with Taiwan's Shi-Ye Liu, also earned the Best Rendition Award for the commissioned composition Holy Grace. The piece is adapted from a vocal work composed by DF, the artistic director of Shenyun Performing Arts. Now let's take a closer look at how the contestants' state of mind evolved during the 4-day competition. NTD's Flora Hua has more on the story.
After 4 days of heated competition, NTD's 7th International Piano Competition has come to an end. Some contestants told me that they have given it their all to the jury and the audience, so they feel quite relieved. But what's most important to them is enjoying this journey and presenting their favorite masterpieces on this platform.
One of the goals, of course, and privileges is to go through the entire round, the entire process of a competition when you prepare 3 rounds. So, yeah, having just finished the 3rd one now, like I can say I did everything that I prepared for, which is a great feeling. Yeah. So, yeah, that and also being relieved that, of course.
Jean-Luc from Canada is a professional pianist who often goes on concert tours in Europe and Asia. He shared with me the motivation that has driven him to come this far in his music career.
Classical music is kind of everywhere, but the music that we play as pianists, I think basically of myself as an historian sometimes, because if we don't play it, it's gone. No one's ever really going to be able to play it anymore. So it's really a tradition that also evolves from generation to generation. We don't play the same way that they played in Bach's time or Beethoven. It's very different, but still we continue this tradition.
3 contestants from Taiwan made it to the final rounds.
I just feel that it's important to do what satisfies myself without intentionally trying to compete with anyone. So of course, I'm very happy to make it to the finals. I get to perform all the pieces I prepared, and it makes all these months of preparation worthwhile.
The first piece Shi Yelu presented in his final round was French piano master César Frank's Prelude, Crown and Fugue.
In the end, it brings back all the elements and all the themes from the previous two sections, presenting everything together at once. It's a very grand feeling. And compared to earlier fugues, although a fugue is a compositional technique, how to integrate personal emotions into this technique is something I think Frank excels at.
Lu also shared his biggest takeaway from participating in NTD's International Piano Competition.
I think the biggest takeaway for me has been trying to understand the meaning of the stage and how to create a connection with the audience, how I can better express myself. This is the deepest insight I've gained throughout the competition.
Reporting from Kauffman Center, New York, Flora Hua, NTD News.
Thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm Fiona G. Good night.